Hello. Hi, Joanne. How are you? It's been a month since I taught this class, 4 weeks, which is crazy. But I was gone in Scotland, which I think most of you know. Some of you were there with me. And anyway, we're back. So, how are you, Joanne? Or anyone else that wants to say hello? Good. Physically and everything too, right? Because I know you had some stuff going on. So I hope all of that is better and you're able to do all the things you want to do. All right. So for today, I mentioned, I think a couple of weeks ago, I was thinking of changing the name of this class. It used to be Yoga Basics. Then I changed it to Stress Reduction in 2020 when I started teaching on Zoom. And so then I was thinking of changing it to Healthy Aging, and someone emailed me and said, no, I'm doing this class because of stress. Well, all yoga is going to manage stress. So whether that's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see what it becomes. But we're still going to be on Zoom on Saturdays and not live yet. Maybe we'll go live in the fall, but let's see what happens. Because I'm going to attempt to go live, like teach live in July. Oh, great. Are you playing pickleball? I'm wondering. Or tennis. I haven't played tennis in so long. Gosh, I think it's 13 years since I played tennis, or at least 12. But that's good because I know you love that. And really, that's what this is all about for me. All the yoga that I teach and practice myself is so that I could do what I want to do in my life. So for me, traveling is a big aspect. So whatever we do, whatever your reason is, having a reason is a good place to start. All right, I am going to go back and start. Let me take. All right. So I do have extra things today. I'll explain that. So I think doing a supported back bend is the way that I start most of my classes, and even myself when I practice, I start most of what I do in some kind of supported back bend because I think we need that, and it's not something we would normally focus on. So when you show up to your mat and you show up to this intention of self-care and self-love in the way that yoga is, it's a great posture to begin with. And I wanted to give a couple of options today because I know some of you have props, and it's really about making it easy for yourself. I remember in the beginning of teaching these lives on Zoom, someone said to me, you go down to the ground too quickly and my body doesn't do that. So it really is about your own body and making this practice fit you. So if you have trouble going from moving and being up to a completely supine position, using a bolster and doing a variation of coming halfway could be a good option for you. So for those that have a bolster that want to explore what that means, doing this supported bolster and doing your extension posture like this, having your spine here and then your arms to the side. So that would actually be a really great medium way. And especially times when you have a lot of mental energy. So when you're in a place of a lot of thinking and it's really hard to calm your mind, doing the halfway may be a better option. And it's still, you're going to get that extension. You're going to stretch the chest and the shoulders in the way that we do when we're doing spinal extension work or back bending. So that's one option. For those with the egg, pretty intense, do the egg where the egg goes behind your heart, like right here, not high up here. So make sure when you do this one that the widest part of your block, for those that have this, is right behind your heart. So when I am with people in person, I notice they usually are a little too high with this. So you really want the apex to be in the least flexible part of your spine, which is right behind your heart, thoracic 5, 6, 7. So that would be an option. And then for those of you that maybe want something a little bit more gentle, so not quite as much stretch on deltoids and pectoral muscles, you could do your blanket lengthwise. So roll up your blanket, roll this up, and let your spine be supported here. So the whole goal when we're doing extension work is we're manipulating the spine. So you either have something behind your spine entirely, like a bolster or a blanket, or when you do some of the deeper work with blocks, like harder surfaces, you want to be really right around the heart area when you are creating that back bend, trying to get this thoracic spine to stretch in the front. So that's going to take normal daily life out of your body, which is something we need to focus on, because the breakdown of posture is what leads to almost all joint issues. So it starts in the spine, and then either the spine fractures, or you start to get kyphosis, or the Dauerger's hump, and then that forward pressure puts too much pressure on the hip joint and the knees. So that's why there's a lot of knee issues, a lot of hips. And then the back has to manage all of that. So the low back is trying to manage what's happening. So that's why back bending is so important. So choose what's appropriate for you right now. Get yourself situated in the way that you need to. You're going to need a block and a blanket and a strap for today's practice. So put those off to the side, and then get your other props ready to come down. Before you go down, let's bring ourselves to this present moment. Not always easy to just go like that and to calm your mind. So wherever you are, close your eyes, either in a kneeling position or crisscross your legs, or whatever you need to do in order to be either comfortable or as comfortable as possible in a seated position. Close your eyes. And then allow your awareness to focus on sounds that exist around you. Maybe you hear birds chirping or planes overhead, or the sounds of the machines in your house, whatever it is. Mouth is closed, breathing in and out through your nose. And then bring your awareness inside to your heart. And try to hear your heart beating. There is a sound. See if you can hear your heartbeat, or notice or feel or hear the beating. Notice where your mind goes. Are you able to focus on your heart? Deep breaths, mouth is closed, breathing in and out through the nose. Bring your hands together, right by your heart. Push your heart to your hands to your heart. Feel that action of the spine from the heart on up to where your head attaches to the top of the spine. Really push your heart to your hands and your hands to your heart to activate the part of you that holds your head on top of your body. Take one more breath. And then gently blink the eyes open. So we're going to come down and begin with the spinal extension. Notice right now, where you stimulate a relaxation response in your body with that short, present moment awareness. So for me, it happens, I feel relaxed. So I wonder if some of you are experiencing that as well. So we're gonna come down, we're gonna do the spinal extension, and then we'll do a practice today that's a moving meditation, matching breath with movement, which I think is the perfect way to practice yoga. So get your space ready, whatever you're gonna do. I'm actually gonna support my legs with my bolster since I have it here, and use this for my spine, choosing whatever way you would like to do your back bend. And then bring yourself down onto whatever it is you've chosen. And take your time, let your eyes be open at first so you could feel your way into this, especially if you're choosing something pretty big, like an egg block behind your body or regular blocks. And then whatever's behind your head, support your body in the way you need so that the stretch you feel is appropriate. Mostly where you should feel this is chest and shoulders. Make sure it's not too intense. And for those with rotator cuff issues, make sure you're not pulling too much, especially if you have something going on in your shoulder. So if you have a joint that's got issues, you don't want to stress that joint. So bring yourself into a position. Once you get there, close your eyes. And then when the eyes are closed, feel what's appropriate. Bring your awareness to your heart, the pace of your heart, the velocity of your heartbeat. Keep your mouth closed, breathing in and out through your nose. And start to arrange your body, noticing if you have tension in the neck or the lower back. So those are the two areas below where you're doing the most spinal manipulation. So pay attention to these two areas. If your low back is aggravated, push your belly button towards your spine. Try to press the low back towards the floor, manipulating the curve of the low back so you take that tension out. And then if your upper back or neck area is tense, lengthen your neck, tuck your chin slightly towards your chest. And see if you could isolate the majority of the tension in your shoulders, your chest, and maybe even around the heart area. Mouth is closed, breathing in and out through the nose. Let's practice the breath of peace, keeping the mind busy with counting, regulating your breath, regulating the inhale and the exhale. So I'll do a count of 5, 5 inhale, 5 exhale, and then I'll allow you to count on your own. And if you're able to go to 6 and 6 or 7 and 7, try that. Mouth is closed. Take a big exhale. Let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue on your own. Counting your breath, keep your mind busy with counting. Regulate your breath. Try to get to 6 and 6, which is the natural sinus rhythm of your heart. Let it be smooth. Keep your mind busy with counting. Finish the breath you're on and do 3 more breaths like this. When you finish your last breath, let your body breathe itself and observe where the breath is, the pace of the breath, the quality of your breath. And then begin to move your fingers and your toes. And move your body into whatever it feels like it wants to do. Either stretching overhead or out to the sides, holding onto your wrists or clasping your hands, reaching towards the wall behind you. That'll be a pretty deep stretch. You'll feel that in your belly, your underarms, maybe even in your back. But do what feels appropriate for you and your body. Explore your range of motion. And then go ahead and bring your hands down beside your body. So depending on what you're on right now, hopefully you're away from the floor. Let's do a little bit with breath to move the joints, to challenge the joints in this way, to strengthen the joints using gravity here as weight bearing. So definitely some shoulder joint strengthening, but be careful if you have rotator cuff issues. So let's exhale, bring the elbows down towards the waist, and then inhale, let the arms go overhead, fingertips towards the wall behind you. Exhale, they could touch at the top if you'd like, and then exhale, arms are wide away from your body, elbows are moving towards your waist. Inhale, arms go up and towards each other. Exhale, elbows go towards your waist. So you exhale to bring your elbows down and you inhale to bring them up. A few more. Try to go as big as you can here. See if you can feel your belly stretch, your underarm stretch, your shoulders, your chest. And then bring your arms to the side. Try to see if you can bring your arms all the way straight and then press your hands into the ground. The back of the hands into the ground, heart up towards the sky. Let's move the neck here side to side. So inhale, and then as you exhale, let your head go side to side. Inhaling back up to center, exhaling into that rotation in the neck. Close your eyes. Notice where in your body you feel this. Can you feel anything happening to your neck at the back? Do you notice any clicking movements? And as you go side to side, if you do feel a stretch, which hopefully you all do, how far down your neck or back do you feel that? These muscles actually attach onto your torso. So can you feel the full range of the muscles you're moving and stretching? And bring yourself back to center. Let's bend the knees. You're to come onto your side, so off your props, onto your side, cradle your head in your arms. Let your spine settle. And then take your hand on the ground, pushing away. Bring yourself up. And clear your space. So if you have extra props, get them off to the side. And then bring your blanket onto your mat. So if you have knee issues, use 2 blankets or pads or something if you need them. If you have wrist issues, do something to support your wrist. So it's the flexion of the wrist, it's the bending of the wrist that gets to be aggravating for people with wrist issues. So if you minimize that bend, you could roll up your front blanket, your mat. You could roll that up and that'll minimize the bend. So for some of you, that may be what you need to do. Or they do have wedges you could purchase. So come onto your blanket, come onto all fours. Take your hands really wide and let your fingers go out to the sides. Take your knees pretty wide. So this should be safe for most of you. And then push your body side to side. Start rolling around in your hips and in your shoulders. Even let your chest move towards the side you're moving towards. So stretching the upper back muscles. Move in whatever way you can to feel an appropriate stretch. And you are in your shoulders and hips. So those with shoulder issues, notice if it's sticky or what's going on, and only do what's appropriate. And then bring yourself back to center. Come all the way up. Stretch your wrists. So if you're able to sit on your feet like this, bending your toes under, letting your ankles be towards each other, try that. Or sit on your heels, or those with knee issues, you've got to figure out what works for you. So come onto a kneeling position and take your hand either in front of you or across your body and stretch your wrists. Keep your arms straight. Really push the back of the hand, not just the fingers, but the back of the hand, so you feel the wrist and you feel the forearm stretch. And then flip your wrist and push your hand and your fingers towards you. Arm is straight. So you could be in front of you, but for some you may need to go across your body, just so that you keep your elbows straight. And then let's do the other side. Make sure you don't have a shoulder earring, so lower your shoulder. And then take your hand and push your hand back. Not just the fingers, but the palm as well. And then take your wrists and shake your wrists. So I think the other day I noticed that Mick Jagger, I think he's around 80, and he was doing a yoga posture, and he was talking about how he stays fit as he's aging. So let's do what Mick Jagger was doing. It's called spinal balance. We're going to make it a movement practice with breath. So for those with osteoporosis, really important to be aware that you do not collapse this part of your body. So right below your heart and then right by your belly button, you do not want this action to happen. So you want to make sure you don't round your spine here. So everyone take your hands right here for reference, right underneath the heart and right by your belly button. This part of your body, be very aware of this when we do the next sequences we're going to do that are flowing to stretch the body and to not compromise your spinal health. So come onto all fours so your pointer finger is forward, unless you need to do something different for your wrists, then choose that. Take your left leg back, your right hand forward, and make sure your head is active. Don't let your head collapse. So keep lifting your head. That'll activate the muscles of the upper back and neck. Inhale, let your left leg, right hand come away from the ground. And then as you exhale, slowly draw the left leg in towards your belly button. If you do not have osteoporosis, you could bring your right elbow to your left knee. But if you have osteoporosis, keep your right arm straight. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So move with your breath. Keep your head active. Core, back, balance, joint coordination, stability, fall prevention. On the last one, come out and stay out in spinal balance. Really reach through the fingers and the toes. Be as long as you could be with your limbs. Take one more breath and then put yourself out. Let's switch. Left arm, right leg, exhale. Inhale to lift. Exhale, draw the right knee into the belly. Left elbow towards the right knee, unless you have osteoporosis. Keep the left arm long. Go slow. On this next one, you're going to hold. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down. Bring yourself up. So either kneeling up here, if you need to rest here, or down if you can. Close your eyes, catch your breath. Keep your mouth closed, breathe in and out through your nose. And then let your awareness go inside to your heart, feel your heart beating. And gently allow your eyes to lengthen, slice open. So my heart rate's definitely accelerated. I wonder if yours is. And that's because we used a lot of muscles and we stayed there for quite a while. So let's go to this next one. We'll go a little slower at first. Matching breath with movement, paying attention to your spine and to what you are able to do. So we're gonna go through a front body, back body stretch. This is actually a really great warm-up movement for anything you're gonna do. So we're gonna move back and forth from up dog, or a variation of up dog, which is a back bend, bending the hip joint a lot, coming back preferably into puppy, keeping your tushy in the air. For some, well, I don't actually like a lot of people to go into child's, because child's is flexion and it does stretch the low back nicely, but it's not great if you have osteoporosis. So I guess you could choose. You could do up dog on the inhale, stretching the front of your body, bending. Exhale into puppy, tushy in the air, or child's all the way down. So you decide, inhale and exhale. Go slow, close your eyes, feel this in your body. You're stretching the front and then you're stretching the back. Keep your spine long, let it be your hips that are moving, bending and unbending. You inhale when you come forward, you open your body, your heart is open, chest is open. You exhale when your body closes or comes back to center. One more. Come forward and stay forward. Lower your shoulders from your ears. And then exhale. And then inhale, look over one shoulder towards your feet. Let your nose go up in the air when you come back to center. And inhale to look over the other side. So a little rotation, you'll probably feel that around the hip bones, around the belly, stretching top part of the psoas, some of the rotational trunk muscles. One more each side. And then bring yourself up. Let's stretch in puppy dog. So the knees are pretty wide here. Take your hands wide and forward. Straight arms are preferred. If your hips don't bend a lot, you could use a block to put your forehead. But if you are able to come forward and bring your forehead to the ground, do that. Let your top thighs touch your belly. And then let your head rest. Long spine, eyes are closed, breathe.
Keep trying to point your tailbone back. Try to stretch your low back. Try to add a little flexion to the lumbar spine, pushing the belly button towards the low back. Feel that stretch from the lower ribs to the top of the pelvis. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up. Lead with your head.
I want to do a low back stretch. It's a really great stretch, but not for those with osteoporosis, because this part of your body, you've got to be careful you don't bend this part of the spine, putting a lot of pressure in front. So this is called turtle. It's a really great low back stretch to stretch the muscles from the lower ribs to the top of the pelvis. So with turtle, you come onto your tushy, and actually probably better to fold the blanket in two. So you have a little elevation for your tushy. You come forward, and then the soles of your feet are together. Well, your soles could be on the ground. Move the flesh of your buttocks so you feel your pelvis on the floor. And then bring your hands to the inside of your body. And then take them underneath your legs. So I know this looks contortionist, but it's actually a great way to stretch the low back. Actually, so you could bring your soles of your feet together. So really, it depends on you and your body. You could bring your hands onto your legs and then lengthen your body. So push your bone into the ground and find that space in your body. It's actually a great posture for stretching the low back, turtle. But there is a rounding that takes place. So for those with osteoporosis, I don't recommend this. You can even keep your hands on the ground, letting your forearms push into your lower legs. Push your tailbone into the ground and try to lengthen your spine. And you'll feel that stretch in the lower back. Push your belly button towards your spine. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up. Yeah, the thing with traditional yoga, there's a lot of forward flexion that's just not so great for the spine, actually, as we age, or especially if we have bone issues, which a lot of us do, 55% of the women over age 50. So just got to be cautious when we move with some of those postures. But the forward folding postures in yoga are actually calming for the nervous system. And calming your nervous system is a very important aspect of healthy aging. Let's do a twist while we're here and some posture work. So take your blanket, bring your blanket into a folded position. For those that are not quite as flexible, I recommend that you double up your blanket. So not only do you do it from this to this, but you even go a little farther to the next one, so you'll be pretty elevated. Choose what's appropriate for you. Get your block and get your strap. We'll do some posture work and some twisting. Important for all of us. All right, so come onto your blanket and then reach and grab your flesh so that you expose your sits bones. It just helps you sit nice in your pelvis when you do that. And then get your strap and take your strap onto your feet. So put your strap onto your feet. And then you want your feet to be body distance. So probably a block could go in between them. That would be like a good indicator, like this distance apart. Take your hands, wrap your hands around your strap. And then bring your elbows underneath your shoulders. So make sure your elbows are not forward, they're right underneath your shoulders. And then push into the strap with your edges, the pinky toe edges. And then push your pelvis into the ground and lengthen your spine. Elbows are underneath your shoulders. So push into the strap. This is going to help the side body muscles, so lateral chain, protective for knees and for hips. Toes are pulling towards you and the soles of the feet are away from you. This is called Dandasana staff posture. Take one more breath like this. Then you could either stay here or you could drop your strap and bring your arms up into scarecrow to challenge your body in this deep hip flexion, supporting your upper trunk. Lift your heart, push your hands back, push your feet into the ground a lot, and sit tall. Spread your toes, push your heels away from you, push your heels into the ground. Look side to side, make sure your joints are stacked. Elbow, wrist, fingers. Notice if you're forward, if you're bending your wrist. Try to get stacked if you can. This is a good indication to notice where you are in your spine for posture. Being right alongside your body is what you want. Many people are forward and then they bend the wrist. So working here to perfect your posture. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and relax. Take the strap off to the side. Come into a wide leg stance. Always a interesting position to find yourself in. It brings up a lot where you have some tightness in your lower body. You can put a block between your legs to push down and keep your spine long. And then notice here where you feel this, hamstrings, adductors. Definitely the posture, one of the postures that people have the most challenges with, I would say, is this. Legs are straight, but don't force the issue. So do what you can. For those of you that are more limber, if you want to come forward, it's at the hip that you're bending. You're not bending your spine to come forward or your head down. You're bending your hips to come forward. So you still keep your spine long. And then take one more breath. And then bring yourself up. Take your soles of your feet together in Baddha Konasana, an inner thigh stretch. And even actually, I feel this in my hips too, up the outside of the hips. So bring the soles of the feet together. Hold onto your ankles, onto your shins, whatever feels better for you. And then long spine. Make sure you take that rounding out of your spine. Long spine, long neck. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to neutral. Readjust if you need to. Take the flesh back. I remember when I started practicing yoga and they would say, move your flesh. I thought that was such a weird thing, but it actually is amazing. And it's mostly muscle. But move it back and it really exposes your pelvis in a way that really helps you sit nice and tall. Let's take the block onto, let's go to the right, because I'm going to the right, so it'll make it easier. Put the block behind you. Now, when we come into this rotation, we are going to be growing out of our pelvis. You don't want to lean back, and you don't want your arm to be straight trying to support you. You're pushing away from either the floor or the block, depending on how long your arms are. Take your right leg, bend your right leg, and hold on to your right leg with your left arm, and then be as broad as you could be across your chest. So don't let there be a bend in that left shoulder. Really push the heart forward, adding this rotational force to your trunk. Hold on to your right leg, push your right leg into the ground and your left leg into the ground. So very active feet. Push down on the block to be as tall as you can, as long of a neck as possible. Exhale, and then inhale, lower ribs, middle and upper. Come into spinal rotation. Active legs, and then active left elbow. You can let your head go a little more as well. Try to really get the thoracic spine to stretch. Lower your shoulders, slide your shoulder blades towards each other, and lift your heart. Take one more breath. And then unwind your spine, push the block to the other side, come through center, bend left leg, hold on to left leg with the right arm, take your left hand behind you, push your legs into the ground. So very active feet here. This is going to help to support the low back.
So we support the lumbar spine when we add that rotational force. Exhale, and then inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Rotate to the left. Active legs, pushing away from the ground, tall spine. Lower your shoulders, slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Mouth closed, take deep breaths. Take one more breath. And then slowly bring yourself back to center. So your choice here, if you want to come back into that stretch position, or put the soles of your feet together and come into Baddha Konasana. Do what feels right for your body. So try to find some kind of need in your body to stretch. What feels right for your body? And then take one more breath. And bring yourself out. All right. Onward. Put your blanket back onto your mat. So we're going to do plank, but we're going to actually add some trunk stabilizing to this, so some movement with your legs. So coming onto your hands is ideal, but if you have wrist issues and you want to come into a forearm version, you can do that. Whatever you do, make sure that you have your shoulder girdle to protect you. So you want your arms to either be shoulder distance, or when you come into forearm, you want to make sure you're not wide with your elbows or wide with your hands, because you want your shoulder girdle to protect your upper body in plank, especially because we're going to move the lower legs into stabilizing work. So take your hands underneath your shoulders or come down into forearms, and then take one foot back and then the other. So come into your plank, find that strength by pushing through the heels, push all 5 toes on both feet into the floor, push away from the floor, spread your fingers a lot, and push your fingertips into the ground. So you disperse that weight. From here, if you'd like to add a little movement, you can walk your feet a little closer so you're definitely in a body position, stable body position. Then from here, take one leg up and out to the side and back. Slower you go, harder it is. And do both sides. Bring yourself back to center. Push away with your hands, push away with your feet. Long spine. One more breath. And then bring yourself down. So that was actually 1:20. So that's kind of long. Take your hands forward. I like to rest in puppy dog. If you have a different posture to rest in, choose it. Lift your head up. Bring your knees to the far back part of your blanket. Bring one forearm onto the ground and then the other, and then bring your pelvis to the blanket. And move your body back so your pelvic is supported by the blanket. And bring your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Hands are spread. And then press the toenails into the ground. And then this is Sphinx posture, push away from the ground, look forward and up, then push your heart forward. So lengthen the lower ribs away from the pelvis. Feel that stretch in the belly and then push away from the ground. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself all the way down. Take your elbows out to the side, fold your hands. So let's strengthen the upper back and neck area and bend the spine. So more posture supporting work. Forehead rests on the back of your hands and breathe through your belly. So get your heart rate to relax with breath. So let's strengthen the upper back muscles. So the elbows are pretty wide here. Your hands are folded on top of each other. Lift one leg and roll the leg in the socket so the inner thigh rolls up towards the sky. And the pinky toe edge rolls down towards the ground, and then place your leg down onto the ground. And then the other leg, lift it up and roll it in the socket so the inner thigh rolls up. So hopefully you noticed a little relaxation and more space in your low back area. Let the big toes touch and all toenails touch the ground. Now before you put your head, lift your head up, and before you put it back down, lengthen your spine, lengthen the back neck, and let the forehead touch the back of the hands. Exhale. Inhale, push away from the ground, lift yourself up and away from the ground, and then exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale to lift. Stay there. See if you can feel the muscles that are lifting your head against gravity. And then go ahead and lower. Take your hands out to the side. Elbows come right off of the shoulders. Palms are spread. Your head is lifted. Nose is pointing straight down towards the ground. Lengthen the back of your neck. And then exhale, let your forehead touch the floor. And then as you inhale, imagine your nose is pushing a marble away from you. And then you lift your head and upper back away from the ground. Push your elbows and your forearms into the ground. And then exhale slow. Feel the muscles that activate to do this. As you inhale, you're pushing a marble away with your nose, adding that back bend to the cervical spine, and then bringing that into thoracic. Go slow, eyes are closed, feel this. On your next one, come up and stay up. So even if your eyes are closed, it's as if your gaze is looking forward about 5 feet in front of you. That's how bent your neck is. So you're having to work to hold your head up in this position. Take one more breath and then lower your body all the way down. Slide your hands so that your thumb is on the mat, your fingers are off the mat, your elbows are alongside your body. Lift your head up, your neck is nice and long, put your forehead down on the ground, exhale. As you inhale, as if you're pushing a marble away with your nose, push your hands into the ground and slide them back towards your feet. And keep lifting up to go a little lower to get more activation of more back muscles. Exhale to lower down, inhale to come up. Go slow. Close your eyes and feel the muscles working, right side, left side, all the way down to your pelvis and your sacrum now. This is Cobra. Push your hands down. As you come up, really activate your back muscles. And then one more. Come up and stay up for a couple of breaths. Long neck. Let your shoulders be away from your ears. And then go ahead and lower down. Fold your hands, elbows are pretty wide and far away from your body. Then take your legs wide as your mat. Neck is long, let your forehead rest. Breathe to your belly so you can release low back tension. Really breathe to the belly, feel the belly pressing into the ground, and feel that relieving low back tension. And then bend your legs, let your legs flop side to side. Let it be gentle and let it be relatively passive. So you're not trying to push them to the floor, you're just going to let the weight of your legs go side to side, relaxing the back, the glutes, the low back. And then bring your legs down. So I'd like to stretch the quadriceps. Some of you will be able to reach your heel towards your tushy and stretch your quadriceps like this, and many will not. So for those that cannot, if you could do this, do this. This will be good enough, and you'll feel that stretch in your hip flexors pushing your hip towards the ground. For those that cannot, and I know there'll be plenty that can't, come onto your side and do it, holding on to whatever you can grab, socks, shorts, pants, your foot if you can. The key is to have the leg right off of your body and to try to unbend your hip joint. So don't let the knee be forward, push the knee back, or stay on your belly if you have access to that. Take one more breath. And then take that same leg and bring that leg out to the side so that the knee comes right off of your hip, and you try to push the front of your hip towards the ground, stretching the front of the hip where the leg attaches to the body. Good for knee health and hip joint health. Really push the front of your hip towards the ground, so you stretch right where that leg bone attaches in the hips joint. Take one more breath.
And let's stretch the other side.
So bending the other leg, if you're close to your tushy and you can reach around and grab it and bring the heel towards the tushy, do that. Otherwise, roll onto your side and stretch it that way. So do whatever is appropriate for your body. Take one more breath. Let the leg go straight. Now you're going to stretch the part of your body where your leg attaches into your pelvis. So let your knee go out to the side. Try to push the front of your hip joint towards the ground to feel that deep stretch. It's a nice, safe way to stretch your hip joint. And important to keep the mobility in your hip for hip health, for knee health. Take one more breath. And then we're going to come onto our side. So stand up and come onto your side. From here, you're going to push your hand into the ground, bring yourself up. And then take your blanket to the top of the mat. Bring yourself down. Come onto your back. Move the blanket so it's only under your head, not your back and your neck. And then take your arms out to the side. Higher the arms go, more stretch you're going to be in your shoulders. Really isolating your rib cage here. Take your feet as wide as your mat. Let's do a little windshield wiper action. Try to get your legs to push away from you, be as long as you could be in your torso from lower ribs to pelvis. So feel the legs moving to the side and away from you. Stretching the hips. If you'd like, you could hold on to your mat and go a little more intentional, pushing the big toe edge into the ground, pushing the leg away from you and trying to unbend the hip joint of the leg that goes into the middle. So I love windshield wiper movement. I think it's great for your hips, for your core, even for knees, I guess for your whole body, spine. Close your eyes, feel this. It's a yummy movement. Or make it a yummy movement. So find what that is for you. And then one more each side. And bring yourself back to center. So let's do a bridge, but let's do one first where we do a stability work, trunk stability. So move your feet so they go where they are. You don't want them to be too close to your body. You do have a blanket behind your head. Don't make it too big, so take a little bit out if you need. And then push your arms into the ground, lift your ribs away from the ground, slide your shoulder blades closer to the spine so you're really supported in your shoulder girdle. And then the arms are down alongside your body.
feet or hip distance. Tilt your pelvis backwards so your low back touches the ground. Squeeze your buttocks, so keep your belly soft, squeeze your buttocks. Bring your awareness to your hip joint. As you squeeze your buttocks, push into the floor, and unbend the hip joint by contracting your glutes, and then lower down. So let's inhale to lift. Squeeze and contract your glutes. Exhale to lower. And try to go to the place where you actually feel shaking. You're doing a lot of glute engagement. You're not just casually activating your glutes. You're really activating a lot, unbending the hip. And the next one, you're going to bring yourself up. Stay there. Squeeze the tushy a lot. So you're only off, the low back is away from the ground, but the lower ribs are on the ground. So you're not too high here. Long neck, lift your head up. Bring your awareness to your left foot. Push your left foot into the floor. Activate your trunk muscles, and then let the right foot just hover off the floor. Keep your pelvis stable, and then lower down. Let the right foot make that connection. Right glute is active. Lift the left leg off and keep your pelvis stable. So stabilizing the pelvis, really use the glutes. So bring your awareness to right where your leg attaches to your body and really activate those muscles. Don't let your pelvis tilt. Doesn't matter how high up you lift the leg, higher you're going to get a little bit more work if that's appropriate for you. Hip stability, trunk stability. Using the back of your body for this action. One more each side. Both feet down, squeeze your tushy, try to unbend your hip joint, and then lower down. Take your strap. We're going to come up with bridge. We're going to use the side muscles and the whole back body and do a little bit of a higher bridge, bringing that into the spine, the back end of the spine. So bring the strap onto your upper thighs. Take the blanket away from your head. Press your arms into the ground, lift your ribs up, slide them towards each other. So your hands could be wherever you want them to be here, either long or elbows are bent. Walk your feet a little closer to your body. Pay attention to the knees, because this can really stretch the tendons that attach of the quadriceps. So pay attention to if your legs are too close or not. Tilt your pelvis back, let the low back press into the ground, push out into the strap, exhale. And as you inhale, squeeze your tushy, unbend your hip, bend your spine, lift your rib cage away. That's your inhale. And exhale, place your vertebra back down on the ground, still pushing out on the strap. Let the low back touch first if you can. And do that again. Activate by pushing out, unbending your hips is the goal, then lifting your rib cage. Really undulate your spine. And try to keep your trunk stable. Close your eyes. The next one, you're going to come up and stay for 5 breaths. If you're able to clasp your hands under, clasp your hands, pushing down on the strap. Go up as high as you can. Bend your spine. Really push your heart up towards your forehead, so you're bending it. Squeeze your tushy. And then slowly bring yourself down. Blanket back under your head. Strap off. Knees are in. Rocking side to side across the top of your pelvis. Then hold on under your hamstrings. Happy baby. Let your feet be really far apart. And draw your elbow or your knees towards your armpits. A little side to side here. And it's time for Shavasana, to let all this integrate into your body. So do whatever you'd like for Shavasana. Legs could be off you. You could do this with bent knees. Legs could be wide. Arms could be wide. Whatever feels appropriate for your body. You may need support under your knees. Just find a way to connect to your breath and allow all the dust that we created in our body to settle. again to deepen your breath. Noticing how your body feels. Start to bring movement into your body, starting with your fingers and toes, and eventually drawing your knees into your chest. Go slow, noticing what you notice. Bring yourself onto your side, and from here all the way up to kneeling or seated. Long spine, close your eyes, bring your hands to your heart, sit nice and tall. Press your heart to your hands, hands to your heart. Long neck, slightly tucking your chin down towards your chest. Let's close with a humming sound. Exhale. Inhale. Forehead, hands to forehead, in deep gratitude for this opportunity. Say namaste or thank you, whatever resonates with you. So I say feel what you feel, notice what you notice, because the more body awareness you have, the healthier you'll be able to keep your body. And the more you'll notice what you need to focus on, and also not where to go. So when you're practicing, staying in the place that is safe for you. So I hope you feel great. Practice yoga often and have a great day. All right. So there was definitely some strengthening for joints today in that practice. So I hope that you all feel good. Carolyn, good morning. Nice to have you here. Oh, well, sorry, Kamyukan, or however you say your name. Hopefully it was better. You're welcome, Joanne. Yeah, thank you. Great, Carolyn. Thank you. I'll see you all next week. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.